Welcome, Pisces, to your in-depth monthly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for June 2026 for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share the big themes of the month ahead, first of all, for you. Then on screen, the event chart as you come into June always provides an important backdrop. I'll then go through each of the influences in detail by the end of the video, giving you a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. It's an intriguing month, Pisces, because it begins with a lot of energy right at the bottom of your chart, which is how we feel, how comfortable we are in our environment. Can be about where we live, who with, and how, but also developing as the month goes on a very potent fifth house array. Fifth house energy is potentially very joyful, and we have one of astrology's finest conjunctions, which is actually very rare in the sign of Cancer, which occurs on the 9th, when Venus, in your traditional ruler Jupiter, Venus of course, in exaltation in your sign, they come together in that fifth house. And through week 2, that can bring some real magic in your direction. If you think back to when Jupiter first moved into your fifth house, June 2025, you may have read or watched a video saying that Jupiter would bring amazing things your way, and I hope it has. But unfortunately, when it arrived, it was challenged by the restrictive vibes of Saturn. So particularly when it comes to speculation around your resources, or maybe around your social life, things haven't quite caught fire. But as the month goes on, Mars, in the part of your chart to do with your words, ideas, and movements, links incredibly well to Jupiter. And we also have the Sun moving into Cancer, starting cardinal quadrant 2, and obviously the summer solstice. And that brings a 13-week period of opportunity for you to have fun. So really bright and bubbly stuff for you, but it has to feel right. And of course, being a water sign, you kind of know that. But on the screen now is your event chart. So the big takeout at the start of the month is the sun and the moon are still in opposition from the blue moon, which occurred at the end of May. And that was asking you really about work-life balance, because perhaps some emotional or family demands have in some ways been impacting on how you can connect around your professional situation. And that may still need a bit of a juggle, because Uranus in that fourth house is perhaps throwing up some surprises. It may not necessarily be exclusively about your situation. It may be people around you are being rather surprising, making sudden moves. But also Uranus clashes with the North Node in your sign and the South Node in Virgo right at the start of this month. So if something does feel a bit out of alignment, that may be something you need to work through. And it could be it's around things like money, because that is a hot topic for everyone at the moment. And Saturn is in your second house, asking you to be cautious, but it is clashing with Venus, which can be, of course, very much about relationships as we go into this month. So the potential for things to feel a bit highly charged and not as easygoing as you might like is actually quite strong. However, on the 1st, Mercury, the planet of communication, moves out of Gemini, its home sign, and into Cancer, and it moves there for 10 weeks. Do you remember when Mercury went through Pisces? Near to 10 weeks. And all the Mercury retrogrades this year, this one begins on the 29th of June, are in water signs. But Mercury thrives on logic, detachment, and cool analysis. So in Cancer, it's much more of a nurturing vibe, but actually it's still your fifth house. And Mercury in the fifth house can be quite playful and mischievous. It's definitely a portent of potential fun. So that's nice. For sure, it does go into its pre-retrograde shadow on the 13th, but it is helping you through this month to perhaps move on from some of that sort of deeply personal and perhaps unsettling energy which may welcome you into the month. I should just say, however, if you're actually not really feeling any tension around your home, emotional, or family life, with the Sun in a great link to Saturn, you may actually be getting much more organized. You may be reforming where you live, whether it's catching up on repairs, improvements. You may even be moving all together, and it could all be going tickety boo. But once we get to the ninth, we have a magical conjunction between Venus and Jupiter. So, because of uh, the periods that Jupiter visits each zodiac sign can be 11, 12, or 13 years. It's a long time since this has happened. So you've got the two planets of fortune and meeting up in the fifth house, which is quite joyful for you personally, on the ninth exactly, but all through week two. So if you wanted to go on a date with someone, meet up with some friends, go to some kind of celebration or gathering, watch a concert, a band, just have pleasure, go for it. It will be absolutely just what you need. However, on the 13th, as I mentioned, Mercury does go into its pre-retrograde shadow. So there could be some last minute changes of plan. But also on the 13th, Venus moves and goes into the sixth house of your chart, which is about practicalities. A great way to make any relationship work better through to the end of the month is thoughtful, practical gestures. Can I make you a cup of tea? Oh, I'll cover that shift. Don't worry, it's fine. We can swap. Those kind of things, particularly around your relationships at work, can be very good. But if you are someone who regularly attends the gym, queues up in the supermarket with an eye on who might be queuing beside you, or perhaps you go to the pool or the fitness center, that Venus in the sixth house could be a great way to connect to someone new because it's going to be linking back to Uranus and Neptune, but also going in an opposition with Pluto, which is a bit more complex. However, what Venus in Leo does is it gives us a bit more self-belief and and confidence in how desirable we are. So do hold that because you are being supported by the exuberance and abundance of Jupiter, and also Mercury, remember, which can be playful, and then from the 21st, the Sun. All of that, and then Mars's link in Taurus through to Jupiter in Cancer. Again, your words can be passionate, enthusiastic, and there could be a real connection. It's entirely possible. If you're in an existing relationship, you can find yourselves wanting to be a bit more cheeky with one another. Why not? Life's a serious business. If we can, we need to go out, be a bit more spontaneous, create that quality time. If you have children, their activities and pursuits can also bring joy and pleasure to your life as well. If you'd like to add to your family, I have to say that Venus in a conjunction with Jupiter in the fifth house in Cancer, ruled by the moon, that's all very good, I believe, for fertility. So, what about the new moon at the heart of this month? Well, if there have been those bumpy moments around home or family life, there is a chance to get back on the front foot in a more positive way with that. But the intriguing thing about the moon in Gemini, because new moon's the sun and the moon merging, is the moon doesn't really know what to do with itself in Gemini. It's not against it. It's an air sign. It's logical. It's quick-witted. It's changeable. The moon is very much more to do with nurture. But I feel it is a new moon that you can use your thinking and your communication skillfully to bring about a greater sense of connection. And if you are looking to uh, use your home, for example, as a hub, if you've got other mums, or it could be having a family gathering, all of that can come from that lovely new moon, even if it's not the most emotional one. But the 19th sees Chiron move out of the second house of your chart into the third. Over the years that Uranus went through the sign of Taurus, you may have experienced quite a lot of nervous tension. And you may have found yourself also more outspoken. Now that Uranus is in the fourth house for you, it could be about those changes where you live, could be getting a bit of space from people you don't find so easy, but it can suddenly connect you to new people that you do. But I feel that Chiron going into that third house is just encouraging you to believe in your ideas and how you can connect with people. It's only there for 3 short months, but the sign of Taurus is very much about our self-worth and value. And you may find yourself with that third house energy. If you have doubted that people find you interesting and your ideas are intriguing, work on that through those 3 months. But that summer solstice, I appreciate in the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. But in the Western tropical astrology, each year is divided into 4 segments of 13 weeks, the quadrants. This is the second quadrant, and it's brilliant for you. You know, if you do want to showcase your wonderful creativity and artistry, which Pisces people have in spades. You're going to be able to do it particularly over the following month, but especially over the next 13 weeks. So it's a great celestial window of opportunity. And I mentioned before about Mars and Jupiter linking fantastically well. So your words can really land. You might think it's Chiron, but it could well be Mars in that link with Jupiter from about the 20th 21st through to the 28th. But then Mars moves to connect with Uranus. And if you're not enjoying where you're living, you know, it might be you like the house, you don't like the neighbours. It might be that you like the house, you like the neighbours, but it's too far from the shops. You might like your house, like your neighbours, it's not too far from the shops, but actually, even though you like it, it's too small, it's too big, and so on. So Mars applying to Uranus could see you make a sudden decision at the end of this month. But just know that Mercury goes retrograde the following day. And if you do look to make a decision with Mercury in a water sign, which can erode uh, its more detached clarity, be sure you're not making a very emotional, reactive decision. And also the full moon, which occurs on the 29th, could see you thinking about life, whether you're at a bit of a crossroads, to be honest. And then Jupiter moves to join up with Venus in Leo as the month draws to a close, where it will be for 13 months. And I think that Jupiter gives you a great opportunity to get fitter, build up your stamina, and perhaps also, if you'd like to have pets come into your world, if you've had them in the past and you know you haven't got one at the moment, you'd like to adopt, a rescue, whatever, all of that can be magical with Jupiter in the sixth house. Sixth house very much about pets. Jupiter can be about where we do something to help another being. So that's lovely for you. So I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Pisces. Just to say, I've reduced the price of my personal horoscope reports. For years, it was buy 2, get 30% off. It's now buy 1, get 3. Why? Because of the cost of living increase. And the one you buy is your life roadmap report, which helps you to understand the patterns that play out in your life, get a more intimate understanding of those and how to work with them better future forwards. Free, your 12-month transit forecast. But also your draconic chart or analysis can be very different from your natal chart, particularly if your North Node natally is not late in Pisces or early in Aries. Draconic astrology helps us to look at life, astrology itself, and ourselves in a different but profound way. Please see the link below for more. If you've yet to watch your Mars in Taurus 6-week forecast, please check that out. If you've yet to watch your Gemini season video, please check that out. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, absolute pleasure. I've worked with people on every continent in the world now. Please check out my testimonials below. And if you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, you can do so now. Get your early day celestial pit stop. I've been saying on all the other monthlies that I do think people can be a bit sniffy about daily horoscopes. People who are very much into natal astrology. I don't agree with that. You know, I feel that natal astrology helps us to get a much deeper insight into who we are. but a daily horoscope just reports on where the planets are that day. How we relate to that information is up to us if they're written skillfully and not coming up with cheesy things like, oh, Pisces, you've been naughty, which of course has been out there, unfortunately, over the years. Thank you so much. I'm going to summarize those areas now. I think this is a big month for your energy in so far as right at the end of the month when Jupiter moves into that sixth house, that can be very strong for your health over the next year. So you've got that to look forwards to. I do think it's important to continue to be mindful of what you're eating and drinking, sugar and calorific wise, with Saturn and Neptune in the second house, which can give our sweet tooth a little bit of a desire. Mars in your third house actually can make you very active, so that's good. And Mars, when it links to Jupiter from the 20th through to the 28th, would be brilliant to do something more active with someone else: tennis, badminton, squash, paddle, whatever it is that takes your fancy. And when it comes to Chiron, the healer, that's moving into your third house, really asking you to work on how you think about your worth. In terms of work, I've been saying for some while that for all of us, this is a changing workplace at speed. And because of all your experiences and knowledge and wisdom, Pluto in the 12th, linking to Uranus particularly, if you can flex and adapt, I think that's a very good thing to do. But the fifth house can be where your people and personality power really shines up. So although it can be a very social uh, energy that's developing in the most magical of ways for you and could be wonderful for your love life, I think it can be very good in terms of interviews and just having an impact on people. People can really warm to you. And then finally, as far as money is concerned, yes, Saturn is in that second house, and that is something which does push us to be aware of being very thrifty. And actually, the more we engage with that, the more we can make sense of it. Because if we've been used to being a bit more extravagant in the past, we can lose sight of how much value we get from that. And the fact that Saturn is clashing with the planet of money at the start of this month just suggests that when it comes to being a bit more frivolous with your resources, I would just be a bit more on the cautious side. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Pisces. Have a great June, all the best, and goodbye.